The rapist who proves Keir Starmer really is Sir Softy on crime. Labour leader opposed deportation of criminal, 40, who has been living in Britain for 3 years after being jailed for vile sex attacks on teenage girls. A foreign rapist is still living in Britain 3 years after Keir Starmer opposed his deportation, the Mail can reveal today. Fabian Henry was jailed for 2 vile attacks on a girl of 17 and for abducting and having sex with a 15-year-old. But when the Home Office tried to put him on a flight back to Jamaica, along with 41 other criminals, the Labour leader endorsed a letter criticising the move. Signed by Sir Keir and fellow MPs a few days before the plane was scheduled to take off, it demanded the cancellation of all further deportations and oppos. The letter also highlighted the Windrush scandal, which saw innocent Commonwealth citizens targeted as illegal immigrants. Rishi Sunak branded the Labour leader Sir Softy in the Commons yesterday, saying he was soft on crime, soft on criminals and oppos. At Prime Minister's questions, he said Sir Keir had repeatedly ordered his MPs to vote against longer prison terms. He added, when our Sentencing Act ended the automatic early release of offenders who pose a danger to the public, it was the Labour Party that voted against it. We are cracking down on grooming gangs, and the leader of the opposition is uncomfortable addressing them. We toughen the law on sex offenders so they spend longer in prison. He voted against it. We have increased rape convictions by over 60%. Meanwhile, he attended 21 sentencing council meetings that watered down punishments. That is why they call him Sir Softy, soft on crime, soft on criminals. Henry, 40, was among 25 Jamaican nationals taken off a February 2020 deportation flight after winning 11th-hour reprieves. Some are believed to have lodged last-minute human rights claims. A police source revealed Fabian Henry is still in Britain. It is despicable that the authorities have not been able to remove this rapist from the country. He is understood to have deployed a series of further legal challenges to avoid deportation. Sir Keir has sought to trade on his record as a former director of public prosecutions, claiming that he had prosecuted thousands upon thousands of sex offenders and oppos. And at PMQs he said Mr. Sunak had broken the criminal justice system, leading to a record courts backlog and the release of violent criminals. On the deportation issue, a Labour spokesman said there is no point in the Home Office trying to blame anyone else for their failure to either deport a dangerous criminal or make sure proper protection measures were in place. It's their failure to sort out their own legal systems or put someone on another flight that is responsible. They've been in government for 13 years. They can't just blame everybody else. Henry was described as devious, callous and manipulative by a judge at Bristol Crown Court when he was sentenced to 12 years in 2013. He denied all the charges against him, forcing his 2 young victims to relive their ordeals in the witness box. The court heard how he groomed both girls by bombarding them with hundreds of messages from his BlackBerry phone. He lured his 17-year-old victim to his cousin's flat in Bristol, where he twice forced himself on her in July 2012. Henry took degrading pictures of her naked and in her underwear, and then published them on social media in a bid to silence her. After the girl left the flat, Henry followed her and forced her to get into his car, where he threatened to hit her. She escaped only when one of his friends intervened. Henry was also convicted of abducting a girl of 15 and taking her to his flat in London, where he had sex with her in December 2012. He started grooming her at 14. Henry was handed a sexual offences prevention order banning him from unsupervised contact with youngsters and ordered to register as a sexual offender for life. The mother of one victim told the Bristol Post he took away her innocence. He vandalized her life and she has got to live with that for the rest of her life. The Home Office were unable to keep Henry in immigration detention because officials had to show there was a realistic prospect of removal and oppos. Further allegations were made against him by another woman, but the case was not proceeded with. Under laws passed by Labour in 2007, the Home Secretary must begin deportation proceedings against any foreign national offenders jailed for 12 months or more. During a rowdy session of PMQs, Mr. Sunak also accused Sir Keir of hypocrisy. The Labour leader has opposed plans to scrap the PS1 million tax-free allowance for pension savings, which is designed to prevent doctors retiring early from the NHS. And the Prime Minister pointed out that Parliament passed a special law during Sir Keir's time as DPP to prevent his pension being hit by the cap. Waving a copy of the 2013 legislation, he told the Commons it's literally one law for him and tax rises for everyone else. Labour has been widely criticised, including by many of its MPs and supporters, for a series of attack ads against the Tories, one of which claimed that Mr. Sunak did not think child sex abusers should go to prison. Home Secretary Suella Braverman writes in The Spectator today that Labour's claim was frankly laughable and oppos.